Welcome to a special edition of the TKO podcast. Before we get started, we just want to send our condolences to the Floyd family. We pray for healing in your family. We pray for healing for this country. We pray for healing over the world. It's been a tough few weeks for all of us. So me and my partner would just like to say thank you for taking some time out to listen to us. Without further ado, everyone, TKO Podcast.
What up, everybody, and welcome to the TKO Podcast, where if it's trending, we're talking about it. I'm Keisha. That's Ori. What's up, Ori?
What's up, Keisha? What's going on?
Not much, man. Obviously, topic that is top of mind for everybody right now was the George Floyd murder that happened maybe a couple of weeks ago, and really just went viral across the world, honestly. And it was just something to see a man's life slip from his body while people were begging this, it's hard to even call him a person, begging the guy that's leaning on his neck to just, give him some sort of relief, put him in the car, get off his neck. And not even knowing at that point, when we first saw the initial video, not even knowing that there were two other people on him, two other officers. And so, to see him, my neck hurts, my back hurts, please don't kill me. And I think that's the part that resonated. Like, despite where you land as far as why this happened, whether it was because of racism, bad policing, bad judgment, wherever you fall, I think for him to call out for his mother who was dead, if that didn't pierce your soul, you have to question your own humanity. So yeah, that was tough to watch. Actually, I kept going by it on social media because I was like, I don't want to see this again. We've seen it too many times. But I finally watched it, and it changed something in me. There was this helpless, hopeless feeling. Like we've come to this where they feel bold enough to do it in broad daylight, on camera, with the audience and people asking them to stop. It was heartbreaking. What was your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, same thing. I was at work, and first time I saw the video, I was just like, literally just like, and then just as I'm like, okay, so like, what happened? I was thinking like, what is going on? And then I'm like, okay, officers got to be suspended or something like that, and I think eventually he was fired. I think the mayor of Minneapolis fired him right away, but then there was no arrest. And I'm like, wait, why is he not arrested yet? So this happened on Memorial Day. And if you remember, Keish, the situation in Central Park happened, right? When people were talking about that, because people were talking about that on that Tuesday and Wednesday.
Right. There was a couple of things that happened leading up to this. So it was Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, Central Park, Karen.
Yeah.
And then this.
Right. So you had all that, and this happened. I'm like, yo, what is going on? Like,
right.
And why is he not arrested yet? And then it's always the tip. I'm thinking like, okay, here they come with the playbook. well, what happened before? What happened after?
Right.
And this and that. And at the very least, I'm like saying to myself, I don't care. Like, if you just think about this. George Floyd was arrested for fake money, fake $20 bill. He was arrested. But a man who had his knee on someone's neck was not arrested. And it was just,
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe it. And I'm talking about an arrest. I'm not even talking about anything else. I'm just like an arrest. So I saw it boiling and boiling. I even said to some friends and coworkers, I'm like, they have to arrest this man. They have to. Like, I'm foreseeing what's going to happen. So but getting back to when it first happened again, my heart went out to his family, to his loved ones, and I was just like, man, I was numb. I've had my own personal interactions. I'm not going to go into great detail about them, but I'll just put it like this, Keish. I came very close to a George Floyd situation in Philly when I was 16 years old. Very close.
I think a
So
lot of Black men have,
yeah.
unfortunately.
So I was like, okay, I don't want to be selfish in that moment and make this about me and the Black people. I was like, yo, I'm thinking about him and his family, his justice. Plus, I didn't want to bring it up because it was like, I don't want those old things to come back. Not that I've buried them to forget, but I don't let those emotions always take over me of what happened to me. Um, so yeah, that's where I was at. I was thinking about his family. I was numb. I was bewildered. I was angry. Um, yeah. So when it came to that, I was just like all over the place. So that's how I felt about when it started with the George Floyd murder, and what happened as follows.
But it's interesting as you talk about how you don't like to bring it up because you don't want that boiling over. You don't want it to seep into the rest of your life. You don't want it to affect how you interact with other people daily. I think that's what's been happening with the Black community for all these decades, all these hundreds of years. So that boiling over that you were trying to keep down by not bringing your situation back up, I think a lot of us have had things happen, and every time we see something on TV, we're like, "Oh, this is the one," right? Because you can't say he was resisting, or you can't say he
Right.
may have had a weapon,
Right.
or if it's Trayvon Martin, he had candy and iced tea. This
Mm-hmm.
has got to be it. They're going to get it right this time. No. Tamir Rice, he's in the park, a little kid, a boy, and within 3 seconds of arrival, shot dead. This has got to be it. He wasn't a threat, was he?
Yeah.
Nothing happens, right? And then Tatiana Jefferson, she's in her house. No knock.
Mm-hmm.
This has got to be it. What was she doing? She was in her house.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Ahmaud Arbery, come on,
Mm-hmm.
he was running. He ain't had no weapon. He tried to avoid them at all costs. They're going to get it right this time. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Breonna Taylor, which apparently happened 3 months ago, we're just finding out about. She sleep. She sleep. Shot 8 times. She sleep. She couldn't have been resistant. She couldn't have been not compliant. She couldn't have been disrespectful. They're going to get it right. And then you see George Floyd, who the police were called because, according to the store owner, they're required to report fake money. So they weren't necessarily calling on him, but because he was still on the scene, they approached him. So they tried to do, like you said, their normal, but then surveillance video comes out. When did he resist? When you put him in a car and was beating him up? Is that when he resisted? When you took him back out of the car, when you could have just shut the doors? When he's laying on the ground, defenseless, already in cuffs, begging, just get off me. I'll get up. I'll get in the car. Please don't kill me. They're going to get it right this time. So all these things are what led to this boiling over that you and many other African Americans, men and women, have been trying for have been trying to suppress.
Normally, Keisha, I normally do the air horn here, but since this is a kind of a serious topic, I don't think it's appropriate to do the air horn. But let's go on to our next topic. Um, what's it been like for the past 2 weeks? What's I know you
Um,
went into it a little bit, but continue that.
it's
2 weeks.
it's been it's been uncomfortable. It's been painful. Um, so you and I, we work in the news industry. We work behind the scenes. So we've been covering this story specifically when everything popped off. What is about a week ago now? A Sunday ago.
So it happened on Memorial Day, but I think by the time it
The
got to
death, but
us,
yeah, leading up to all the protests and the civil unrest in Philadelphia specifically, to watch that unfold and not be able to step away from it. I shed a tear a lot sitting in that chair in that control room, just watching my people, watching my culture, watching Black men, women, children just be so angry and so hurt that the only thing left to do was express that rage in a way so that people, you try to talk to people, you try to make them understand, you try to, explain things. And it's like, what you hear me, but you're not listening. Mm-hmm. So now I'm going to show you. And, I haven't been out in the protests, but the feeling, it was palpable. You felt it come through. You felt the anger. And so it does make you wonder, where do we fit in America? Oftentimes you and I, we could be the only person of color in our workspace. And to sit there and watch these things, it's uncomfortable. You wonder, do they care? Do they get it? Nobody's saying anything, or they might say the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. Or it's like, do they think what they're thinking of them? Do they think that about me? Or do they separate me because they work with me? How are they looking at me? You know what I'm saying? And then it's also, they better not say the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Because what's happening out on the street might pop off in this control room. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
So it's been emotionally draining. It's like you get angry, you get hopeless, and then you see things and you're like, oh, this is our power. Personally, professionally, emotionally, it's been rough. Mm-hmm. Now, as a Black man in America, I have a Black son. So many people say, oh, he's so cute. Oh, look, I love his personality. He has a great smile. And I'm thinking, please remember that when he's 12, 13, Yeah. Keep him, still be able to humanize my baby that you thought was so adorable at 1. Please see him at 12, 13, 14, a grown man. It's scary. I have a Black father, a Black husband, a Black nephew, a Black son, Black nieces, Black nephews, Black cousins, Black uncles, and it's a weight that we carry around that I just don't think people that are not like us understand. But what's it been like for you?
Yeah, it's been rough too. It's been draining, obviously, where we work. Probably that. So that Saturday night, I was asked to work about, with what was going on in Philly that night, just to help out. Then I was asked to work to come in Sunday. And so my emotions was just like all over the place. Obviously, the footage and stuff that we're seeing is a lot of people that look like us, and I'm like, I'm not mad. I'm just like, wow. I feel their pain. Some of it I'm like, okay, I know y'all just trying to like take advantage of a situation, and I know some people have thoughts about that as far as like with COVID and stuff that's going to been going on. A lot of people been cooped up and pent up, and there's this energy, and it's like, let me go get something because I haven't had anything in a while. And those corporations will be taken care of anyway. It's not going to hurt them. So I'm thinking about all this while I'm working and trying to be a professional. And as professionals, we can't be biased. You know what I mean? We're here to assist in telling the stories, giving out information to our city and our community and whoever's watching. So at that moment, I'm locked in, and obviously, I'm doing what I do professionally to get those images over the air. And then, when I get home and have to take a seat, I'm just like, man, it was just unreal. I was just like, wow. So that was only, that was a week basically. Well, I mean, I guess from Tuesday to Sunday, yeah. So it's like 5 days or whatever. It's just like,
It's
wow,
been
that
nonstop.
it was a draining 5 days. And then
Yeah.
as we are recording this show, so we're recording this show on Sunday, June 7th. 2 weeks will be tomorrow, the death of George Floyd. So as we talk about, that's why we're asking the question, what's the 2 weeks been like for you? The second part of it, Keish, was, you know, I'm surprised to see so many people staying on point and focused about what's going on. Because when this happens, there's always people that's going to try to throw oh, they're doing this and they're doing that, and they try to distract you. And people are like, no. And it's not just people who look like us are saying no. It's people that don't look like us that's saying no. There is this movement. And I'm like, wow. And I'm hopeful. I'm a hopeful person.
Oh my God.
I'm a hopeful,
Sickening.
right? So, but I'm not stupid. I'm not
Right.
naive. You know what I mean? So I'm like, when is it going to end? When?
Well, it's a perfect storm because we are in the midst of the coronavirus, so everybody still doesn't have a job to go to. Everybody, tons of kids are still out of school. Kids who don't have to go to their summer internships or summer intros to college. So it is a perfect storm. People have time.
Yeah,
They got time
yeah.
now. So they are able to focus and get tunnel vision, which is good. But like you said, you're hopeful. I want to be. I want to be of the mindset that this is going to lead to actual change.
Hmm.
But only time will tell.
Yeah.
But it does seem like it's something different.
Right.
But we've been
Yeah.
here before when things have been, oh, it's different this time.
Yeah.
But now you're seeing
But not like
people who
this,
are
I don't
not
think. I think the closest was September 11th. And that was different.
where you've seen all backgrounds
everybody. Yeah.
galvanized.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
this is a
and
little different in
in
my
the age of
lifetime.
social media people where you see white people putting white cops on blast,
Hmm.
you know, shedding a light on social media,
Hmm.
videoing instances of injustice and them speaking up. You've
Yeah.
seen instances of people, a white person to go stand in front of a black protester in between police. And
Right.
so it is different. And
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
policing in this country definitely
Yeah.
um, has to take a turn. It has to change. But that's
um,
like a whole nother
that's the
conversation.
whole nother right. So we got a few more minutes left in this. So we got to get two more quick topics in here. Um, Thoughts on civil unrest in Philly and the U.S. What are your thoughts?
Um, I think we kind of touched on it a little bit. It's understandable. Um, it gives you a little bit of hope. It's been a long time coming. And I was shocked of because usually when things like this happen, it doesn't really get to Philly. Like you see little spurts of protests and things like that. But what I saw Saturday, June 6th, that protest that kind of hit nationally, it was trending. There were so many people out there. It makes you kind of like hopeful to be in this city because we've also seen some things going down in certain parts of the city that remind you of how certain people feel about you and how, oh yeah, that's why I don't go to certain neighborhoods, that often. So there is a divide in the city, but I think that like across the country, there's a silent majority that has decided to not remain silent, because at some point your silence becomes acquiescence and you're kind of saying, okay, I don't agree with that, but it's not my place, or I don't agree with that. It doesn't affect me, but it does because we need allies to win this fight, to be honest. But, we're a minority in this country, but we are a global majority. People of color are a global majority. And I think that's what you're seeing happening in Philadelphia and across the country, where we're starting to realize our power. Because I often think if racists aren't the majority of the world, why do they have so much power? Why do they have so much control? Why do they dictate how things kind of go politically and systemically? And, why are all these systems in place if racists are the few? And it's because there's a silent majority that exists that really needs to start using their voices, and because that's the only way change is going to happen. Using your voice and using your vote, and just standing up for what's right. Because with racism, there is no in between. You're right or wrong. You're either on the right side of it or the wrong side.
It's not good people on both sides, Keish?
It's not good people on both sides. I almost went somewhere, or it's not good people on both sides. And you gotta be on a certain side that would be with me at this point. I'm not taking on. I'm unfriending people left and right. How about you?
You said pretty much a lot of stuff that I said or felt rather. And I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier. I'm just surprised of the continuous, messaging that's getting out there, from all people. I'm very surprised. I'm just
there are people trying to flip it. There's people trying to flip it.
You're gonna have some negative stuff, so I was expecting that, and you're gonna have, like I said, you're gonna have the negative distractions. I'm gonna expect that,
right.
But the positive, continuous, over and over. I hope it does spark a change, a movement. Obviously, for people who look like us, our family, our friends, our loved ones, the future, behind us, that generation that's coming up.
Right.
We gotta make this a better place, so yeah, I don't really have much more to add to that.
Okay.
If we still got a few more minutes, let's get in this last topic. So what were your thoughts on Drew Brees, the statement and the apology? First of all, do you know
Bozo?
You know about the
Drew
statement
Bozo?
and apologies? You know about all that?
Yeah, I mean, he said what he said.
Yeah.
He meant it. He felt it.
I agree.
And, there are a lot of people who will say, well, he can change his mind. He could have learned a lesson in a day. I don't know how old Drew Brees is, but what he spoke on initially has been in this man. It's been in him for 40 years, right? And to think that he's had a couple of conversations that has swayed him. I mean, we'll see. I don't buy it. You knew it was coming. He had to apologize. He has black teammates. So what are they going to do? Let him get hit the rest of the season? You know what I'm saying? So he had to apologize. His actions are really going to be what tells whether or not he really understands. So like somebody on social media was saying, like, if you really mean that, then you'll make Kaepernick your backup quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Put your money where your mouth is, Drew. But I mean, it's not. It is what it is. I don't think that he changed that quickly, but it's not my place to judge his heart or mind. And you just have to see how he moves forward and how he adds to issues of social injustice. Does he use his money? Does he use his persona? Does he go out and protest? We don't know how it's going to show up. If it's just an apology, I think for most African Americans, it won't mean much unless there's something behind it. But I believe what he said was from his heart, and I believe that's where he really stands. And I think a good amount of people feel that way, and they're really just missing the point. So if someone was able to make him see that, God bless him. But if not, we, got some work to do. But it's not our job. He needs to educate himself on the issues and not have to get calls from his OT line and his, you know what I'm saying, like his O line, like, sir, what was that you said about kneeling?
Right.
No. But what do you think about it?
Yeah, I was surprised. I was shocked. First of all, Drew Brees is one of those quarterbacks, if you want to say that's like down, right? So with everything that he did with Katrina, being involved in the communities, you know what I mean? I was very surprised. And the reason why I was surprised, first of all, I agree with you that that's how he felt. But the gentleman did not ask him the question. The gentleman did not say, hey, how do you feel about patriotism? How do you feel? He simply asked him, and to me, it was a layup. It's a freaking layup for him to dunk. Hey, with what's going on in the world. So that's how he sets it up. With what's going on in the world, when your guys and the team comes back, you may see kneeling. You think you'll start see kneeling again and whatnot? And he went right into, let me just say this: I will never.
Right. It was
agree.
in his heart.
And it's like, well, wait a minute, hold on, bro. That's not what we asked you. And then he starts going into my grandfather, blah blah blah. Now the conversation could have went another way and be like, hey, Drew, you do know that a lot of other players' grandfathers who don't look like you served in the war, but they could not even sit at the same table as your grandfather when they, and understand for Drew Brees, because Drew Brees he's valid, put like this, because what he went on to say was like, I believe that when we all come together, when we work together, that's the America I know. That's what's beautiful about it. And he's validating that because he, for instance, and Katrina, black people come together, working together to build that community on the field professionally. His black teammates winning a Super Bowl, coming together. So he's like, yo, I've lived this. It's validation, but it's only through his lens and his eyes and his world. And he totally missed the boat, because that's not what we're talking about right now. He just asked him a simple question. Do you think they are going to kneel, protest, or whatever? And he went into saying, I don't agree with that form of protest. So I'm going to tell you why I apologize, Keisha. In my opinion, is two reasons. Number one, he hurt his teammates' feelings. When you hurt somebody's feelings, you apologize, whether you mean it or not. Sometimes they're intentional hurting of the feelings and non-intentional. This was a non-intentional hurting of feelings. He hurt his guy's feelings. Number two, he fractured the locker room. He got to get that locker room back. They got a chance to win a Super Bowl this year. And he's the quarterback. He's the leader of the team. He's got to get it back. So those were the two main reasons, in my opinion, why he apologized. And I felt like then after that, he gave like 3 apologies, basically. The third one to me landed much better, because he actually was on Instagram and you saw his face, and it was like by the time he finally got it. And then, of course, then you had the people defending Drew Brees, like, what did he do wrong? He didn't do anything wrong. We're not saying what Drew Brees said was wrong. We're saying that Drew Brees did not answer the question. He shifted the conversation.
No, what he said was wrong, because
he's saying how he feels about what he feels about the country. If that's how he feels, that's how he feels. I'm not going to say
But it's
he's
wrong.
No, that's how he feels. I'm
It's
not
wrong.
saying
He feels wrong.
how he feels is how he feels.
Right,
I'm not
but it's
saying
wrong. I understand what you're saying.
It's funny. But yeah, so but that wasn't the question. We wasn't asking you about patriotism. We was asking you about, what do you think is going to happen?
So that's why he felt it in his heart to say, I need to get this out. I need to say this. He took that as a personal attack. He could put resources and things into New Orleans when Katrina came because he was helping those people over there, right? He was helping the poor, the downtrodden, the people who lost everything. People lost their lives, had to relocate to other states. That is the right thing to do. But when it comes down to it, in America, there are certain people that when they have to make the choice, they are going to draw that line between white and black. And that's just, I think that's where that came from. So they have that privilege to compartmentalize, especially when it comes to matters that are specifically about being black or white in this country. And he just can't relate.
And he certainly has grown up in privilege. You know what I mean? Like, he grew up in Austin, Texas. Both his parents were attorneys. You know what I mean? So he grew up in a different way. And doesn't mean that obviously he wasn't around black people, because he played football all through high school, college, and NFL. So,
but again, compartmentalization. A good athlete, yes, we can be on the same level athletically, but when it comes to other things, I start to get above you a little bit. So,
but it really is just the idealism that American pie. You know what I mean? Like, it's what you see and what you're hopeful of. All right, Keith. I think we could carry this conversation for hours and hours, but
listen, I've thought about 3 more shows out of this.
Right. A lot of people they don't want to listen to us that long.
Right.
So that we're gonna conclude and end this podcast. Before we go, I just wanted to say my prayers to the Floyd family. My prayers for his loved ones, and I pray for real justice.
Justice.
I'll let you end it.
Healing. Just to piggyback off what you said, we want justice, we want healing, we want true freedom, and we want true allyship, and to be in this. I never thought I'd see this in my lifetime. The unrest, the overt racism, the multiple injustices, the murders on video that are being captured. So I pray that I'm hoping that there's a tide, there's a changing of the guard, that something is going to shift in this country, so that Lucas and all the other kids that are coming up, the next generation, it's cliche, but that you really just want equal footing. You want true freedom. You want to be able to be who you want to be, who you were born to be in this country. That's all we want.
All right.
So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. Leave your comments, share and like, and just be positive, be hopeful, and God bless you all.
Keisha, real quick, where can people find us?
They can find us on YouTube. We got a little YouTube channel now, TKO Podcast. There's somebody out there with the same name, but look for this one. This one is fire. Fire. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and wherever they stream podcasts, right, Ori?
Wherever they stream podcasts. Yep.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out.
All right. One love. Take care, Keish.
All right, Ori.
Peace.
Stay black, bro. It's hard out there in these streets.
Be safe, everybody.